your husband went through a
Hmm.
pretty hefty health scare a
Yeah.
couple years ago. How did your spiritual care training personally help you at that time? Where oftentimes, like I'll tell you an instance, right? Where when I was at the Vedanta course, we had a brahmachari who had a sister that needed a organ transplant. So he's talking to his mom. Mom is worried about the finances of this. There was no father at home, so all these things they're worried about. And he says, "Don't worry, Ma. Bhagavan is there." And the mom says, "That's works for you in your ashram. This is the real world." So when this knowledge is there about the spiritual care and everything, when it personally has to kick in, what was that whole thing like?
Mm, that is during that time. Um, I've I remember everything vividly. Um, and I saw my husband like literally flatline on the EEG, ECG in my front of my eyes. And I thought that only thing I can do right now is pray. I don't know, that kicked in, right? Probably part of it was shock also, but at the same time, I thought only thing I can do is pray right now because I was with the doctor, like the nurse and doctors were there, the paramedics were there, everybody was there. They were doing their job. There was nothing I could do. Wailing and screaming would not help. So I chanted Mahamrutyunjaya mantra.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, okay, I need to talk to somebody about this because I was alone at the hospital for, I don't know, time passed. I was there. And then I called Swami Shivatmananda ji because he was my Bhagavad Gita, like he was the spiritual care course teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And I called Swamiji,
Mm.
but Swamiji didn't pick up because I was
Sarvesha
calling through Swami
Sarveshananji. Mm.
Sarveshananji. He didn't pick up because I was calling through Signal, but then he called me back immediately because I then wrote him a text. And Swami Shivatmananda ji was on plane, so he
Mm.
couldn't talk. But he said, you do whatever gives you peace of like calmness. And Swamiji, so I did seek care, right? Like I reached out to the folks that I know I have to reach out to. I reached out to Binduji, who's who was a chaplain, and she was, I think at that time she was doing CPE first unit at Children's. So I reached out to her. So those were the three people I reached out first.
Mm-hmm.
And that is also grace of God that I thought about those three people
Right.
because I said I'm not going to call my other friends and my sister right now because then I would be just talking about and I won't get time to pray.
Mm.
So for me, I think Chinmaya Mission, all the teachings of Swamiji, like everything kicked in, and I knew prayer was the only thing I could do at that point. And there were possibilities because the doctors were not giving me any confidence at that point, like 2 hours after the
Mm-hmm.
incident. They were not. We got reassurance to some extent only on the third day. So till then, I was uh, I was chanting and I prepared myself and I said, Anand is not. I mean, I would Tattva Bodha, right? I'm
Mm.
I'm thinking about Tattva Bodha that he nobody ever dies. Like we are immortal, divine being. Like our true nature is immortal. So all those things I think kind of helped me. All that scriptural knowledge.
Which never would have come to mind if not for some kind of
Yeah,
program
otherwise
like
I would be
this.
caught up in my mind and
Right.
I would not stand there as a witness to all the things that were going on. So that's what I did. Now, I don't know if I did that out of shock or I did that out of knowledge. I can't say right now, but
Mm-hmm.
that's how you saw me. I was
Yeah.
smiling
Yeah.
and talking
Which was unusual to
peacefully.
me when I came and visited in the hospital. I'm bracing myself for the worst and seeing Anandji there. I'm also feeling like, man, what's going
Yeah.
on? And you were calm. You were like cracking jokes with me a little bit too. And I was like, wow, this is different.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, now when I think of it, I cannot imagine what's going to happen if it happens again. I do feel scared a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, that time I don't know where the strength came from. It's God and Guru's grace. I would just attribute everything to that. There's nothing my doing.
And that's the thing. The knowledge has to come from within to the person at that time. Because
Right.
what we're also told as brahmacharins is if someone's going through a grieving process, just losing someone, that's not the time to go in with Bhagavad Gita knowledge of, Atma
Mm.
persists, Sharira is just a sheet. You go in with that, that's not the right way. Or
Right.
conversely, someone has a baby. You go and you meet them and they say, who does the baby look like? You say either mom or dad, and then you get on with the day. You don't start with, because this baby did not exhaust vasanas in a previous life, born
No,
as this hunk of blood and mom, son, flesh and
exactly.
everything. It's not the right time for that. Knowledge has
Definitely.
its place. That time of when they're grieving in shock is not the place for it.
Exactly. So, yeah, so we would never bring that up, even with Hindu patients.
Mm-hmm.
I would sometimes I would ask them, like, who's your favorite deity?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it's a Hindu patient, I will say, who's your Ishta Devata?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, like, I would start my prayer with, oh Lord Shiva or Lord Hanuman. Usually, if it's
Would a
kids,
lot of them have Ishtadevatas, the patients that you
I
saw?
would say, who's your favorite Devata?
Okay.
If it's if they don't know what is Ishta Devata, then I'll
Mm.
say, who's your favorite god
Right.
to the kids?
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time they'll pick Hanumanji,
Mm.
right? So then you could chant a Hanuman Chalisa if you wanted to, or just when we say the prayer at the end of our visit, I would say, dear Lord Hanumanji,
Mm.
you know, um, I pray to you to bless him with health, and I pray to you to bless the doctors and the nurses who are taking care of him or her, so on and so forth. May he get healthy soon and, live to his full potential and serve his family, his community. That's my way of praying. Like, I want the highest for the child. So that naturally comes out of me. Like, may he live to be a, healthy, young, grow up to be a healthy young man or a woman who's able to serve her family, society, community, country, and maybe the whole world.
So, how do you make these prayers and talk to them when you know they're terminally ill? You know there is a timeline.
Yeah,
What
so
do you do
you
then?
would tailor it a little differently, right? You would say, give them the strength and the courage to face the challenges that you have given to them,
Do
Tom.
these kids know that they're pretty much at the end of their life?
S- I have met couple of them who were like really little,
Uh huh.
so I don't think they knew.
But are there kids that you work with that they know, and how do they react?
Mm, I have not. Well, I did meet one girl, but I didn't get to do spiritual care
Mm-hmm.
with her. Um, but I have not met cancer patient. I did do a dissident care
Mm-hmm.
for the surviving family,
Mm.
and because they were receiving spiritual care throughout the child's chemo and all the treatment, they were doing amazingly good. I
Yeah.
mean, they were crying, and but they were also taking care of the business. That whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was it was inspiring to some extent because they were holding it with grace,
Yeah.
but because they knew that actually many times when they know, it's possibly easier, but the ones that pass away in ED, those are very tough
Mm.
because sometimes they are coming for like tonsils and then passing away
Really?
because of something else, not because of the tonsil surgery,
Uh
but
huh.
something
Some
else.
pre-existing condition.
Something, yeah, and
Yeah.
those are shocking, right? Those are difficult.
Yeah.
But I mean, so we usually let them grieve, right? Whatever they want to share and echo and and some, for some reason, it does help. It does help them.